Hello and welcome to everyone that is joining us from home. Thank you so much for joining another one of our God-fearing generation online sessions. We're back again. We're having a very important conversation today. But before I jump into anything, I want to thank our presenters and our guest from last week. Lesego was presenting with Mama Eugenia Baloy as our guest. They provided a lot of insight on substance abuse, anxiety and depression and all of its manifestations, and we're so thankful. I also want to extend a vote of thanks to our pastors for giving us the constant platform to have important conversations that we have week in and week out. We also want to extend a very special happy birthday and birthday month to our senior pastor, and a happy family month to the rest of the Mana Tabernacle congregation. Today I'm not by myself. I am with a very familiar face, a member of the God-fearing generation. We're going to be having a very important topic, but she's going to introduce that.
Well, welcome everyone, and we welcome you to another GFG live broadcast. We are happy to have you watching us, and we hope that you'll stay with us throughout the live broadcast. Today we'll be talking about bullying, and we'll be touching on both the sides of the bully and the bullied. And we'll also be talking about the impacts and where it might originate from, and we'll go into depth about the impact and how it actually makes a bullied student feel.
So firstly, it's very important that we actually define, or we actually find out what exactly bullying is. And bullying, by dictionary definition, is the unwanted and most times aggressive behavior that wants to put a power dynamic or a power imbalance into play in someone else's life. So this can include various physical acts. It can be like physical bullying or physical assault. It can be purposeful alienation, where they want to remove you from the rest of the group. It can be spreading of false rumors. It can be verbal abuse as well, but the intent of bullying is always the same. The bully wants to make you as the victim feel less important. They want to make you feel small, and they want to make you inferior. But however, bullying is not limited to the things that I've just described. Kat is going to tell us a little bit of how bullying it can come in different forms.
Yes, guys, bullying goes past all the technical definitions. It goes to the point of making someone feel insecure to make yourself feel better, or feeling bad about yourself and wanting to not be alone, and making sure that someone else is in the same boat with you, trying to exercise some type of status or trying to raise your popularity, and it's just not right. I don't care what definitions they are. Bullying is just not right. It's not okay. You don't know whose heart you're breaking into, and I feel like you don't know what background there is and what you're doing to someone else.
So we know that there are two people that are involved in the bullying process. It's the victim and the person who is now perpetuating the bullying, which is the bully. So we want to discuss where exactly bullying comes from, where it originates from. Does it have to do with people's family situations? Does it have to do with the friends that they surround themselves with? Or is it about social media and social status? Like where does bullying come from?
Before I answer your question, Pindu, we got a contribution from an educational psychologist by the name Dr. Petla. I hope I pronounced that properly. The contribution was a scripture verse which I feel I should share. It says, it's from Romans 7 verse 15 to 16, and it says, "In fact, I don't understand why I act the way I do. I don't do what I know is right. I do the things I hate." And that's just a contemporary English version, meaning it's a bit more summarized compared to the one that you might find in your Bible. But to answer your question, bullying can originate from many different places. It could be from family, where you see abuse being exercised on a daily, and you have so much pent up violence in you, and you cannot exercise it at home, so you decide to deflect it onto someone else. And the best way is with your peers, and to hurt someone else because you know that you're being hurt, you understand? And sometimes it can be trying to exercise some form of power, trying to feel like maybe my life I can't control, my life I cannot be held accountable for, so let me try and control someone else's life. So sometimes you feel like, I'm just telling her to do this, I'm just telling her to do that, but then it escalates where you start dictating another person's decisions, and that is in fact bullying. And it can be social media, it can be trying to raise your popularity, your status, and you be like, maybe if I try and downgrade this person, it upgrades me. You understand? And it starts there, and it's, again, no matter what it is, it's not right. But I think it also opens our eyes to see that it's not just the person being bullied that needs help, it's also the person who's bullying that may need the help.
You're very right that we always pay attention, or too much attention actually, or only shine the spotlight on the victims. And it's not because they're undeserving, it's not because their experiences or their deals don't matter, but we need to understand the root of the problem. Why bullies bully? What is going on in their home situations? What is going on in what have they been exposed to as children, that they think making another child feel inferior, that they think making another child feel less than, or just perpetuating violence into another human being is okay, which it can never be. So that's why we really need to open up our conversation, especially as, you know, the God-fearing generation, then in schools and in homes, that okay, we understand that there is this act of bullying, but we need to understand that why people bully, so that we can get to the root of it, that it's not a year in year out thing, that bullying is a problem. Here's International Bullying Day, and that's the end of the conversation. We need to make it real time, we need to make it relatable, so that it can be more and more impactful in people's lives.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something important. People seem to think that bullying is only present on International Bullying Day. No, it's not. There's bullying before the Day of Awareness, there's bullying during the Day of Awareness, and there's bullying after the Day of Awareness. Bullying is always there. It happens, and it hurts to see that people only pay attention to victims only when it's being raised, that, oh wait, let's pay attention to people who are being bullied. And it's not right. Bullying is constantly there. We need to always reach out. And you mentioned that as God-fearing generation, we see bullying happen on social medias, and instead of reaching out, and we know how DMs work, we know how to operate our DMs, reach out to someone. If you can see that this person is being bullied or teased or so forth, DM them, you know, just text them and be like, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. If you need someone to vent to, I'm here. If you just need a call just to pray with, I am here. You know, we're a God-fearing generation. We're supposed to be reaching out, and I feel it's high time we exercise that. Yeah. On that note, you also mentioned cyberbullying. Please go into more depth with that.
Before I do go into cyberbullying, I do apologize. I want to extend our conversation to our viewers at home. Your inputs are always so appreciated. So please, in the comment section, anything that you want us to say or to voice, anything you want to contribute to the conversation, you're very welcome to do it in the comment section. And my apologies for not saying it earlier in the show. But back to cyberbullying. On the note of social media, we are all aware of the age that we are living in. We're living in an age of social media where 90%, if not all of our lives, revolve around the internet. It is more rife than ever that you express your joy, your grief, your celebrations, your wins, your losses on social media. But now with that has come hand in hand with cyberbullying now being the most popular way of bullying, because now people have a shield or a mask to hide behind when they cyberbully, because you know you're behind a screen. There are some things you cannot say to someone's face because of their reaction. They will hit you across the face. But when you say it behind a computer on a keyboard, you know you're big. You can say a lot of more hurtful things that you couldn't have built enough of yourself to say to someone's face. And that's why it's even more impactful, because people really say the nastiest things under other people's posts. They are so mean-spirited and unkind. And then, you know, we're going to discuss the impacts and effects of that unkindness and that mean-spiritedness, but it's really just not okay, and it's becoming more and more prevalent in our generation. It's becoming more and more prevalent in today's time. So that's why we want to tell you, and we want to extend this plea, that please, guys, when you come across people being bullied on social media, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, we know that there are options on each of these social media platforms for you to report those accounts, or report those tweets, or report those posts, because it is not okay that bullies are just, you know, making people feel less than, making people crushing their self-esteem for a living, and we do nothing about it. So let it be your personal obligation as a God-fearing generation member that you're not going to help bullying continue to be rife. You're going to play your part. You're going to reach out, like Atekile said, reach out to the victim that you see being bullied, because you know, when you create an environment where a person is now safe, you know, they feel like they aren't alone. They feel like they're ordeals are being seen, and that they aren't a coward, or they aren't, minuscule. They actually matter. So reach out to them, report those accounts, encourage your friends and your family to report accounts that are constantly, just spreading hate and spreading bullying vibes and spreading unkindness, because that's not the world that we're trying to create for ourselves.
Yeah, that's true. And I feel like there's also that option where before reporting it, because once you report it, you cannot really comment on the post. Before reporting the comment, rather comment and somehow confront the bully. Tell them what you're posting isn't
not
right.
okay.
You're hurting someone, and whoever's being hurt by that post will see the comments, and it will somehow console them and make them feel a little bit better, knowing that someone has my back. They don't know me, I don't know them, but they still have my back. I'm not alone. Someone also feels like this is wrong, and it somehow helps in the slightest way. It might not take the whole entire burden off their shoulders, but it does make it a little bit easier. It makes the battle a little bit easier to fight. You understand? And again, DMs, guys, I cannot emphasize this enough. I know that we're all busy in our own lives, but if you see someone being bullied, just try and reach out to them. Even if it's not now, maybe like write a note that, oh wait, there's someone who's being bullied, I need to text them by tonight, and just make sure that they're okay. It's just that. And the impact is serious. The impacts are more serious than you think they are.
Before we carry on to the rest of our what we have planned for today, we have a contribution from Carol Matabate. She's asking that, are there signs that a person may portray to be a potential hazard as a bully prior to him or her acting out as one? Are there common characteristics between various bullies? Is bullying even something that can occur in a person's character? I'm going to give you a chance as well to, add your 2 cents to what she's saying. But from me, I do want to tell you that one common thing that you will find in bullies it's 2 very common things that you find from bullies. The first is them having low self-esteem themselves, and the second is them being violent, whether it's aggressive with their words or they're physically aggressive. But someone who you just see is known for spewing out hate or spewing out unkind things, whenever they talk, someone's feelings are going to be hurt. That is someone now you can look out for, that person is not a builder of people. That person actually is a tearer down of people. They actively make people tear apart their character, tear apart their self-esteem, their self-worth, all of those different things. So those are things to look out for. Especially one conversation we really need to have as a generation is that we have people that surround us that say things or poke at your insecurities in the name of joking, where they poke at you things that they know you struggle with, or things that you just don't point out on other people. If they can't change it in 30 seconds, don't say it. But they say it and then they mask it as a joke. Those are people that you also need to be careful for, because those are people that are intentionally trying to break you down without being accountable for breaking you down. That's why they mask it as a joke.
And on that point, it also is important that the difference between helping someone and bullying someone is very different. When you can see that there's something wrong with this person, if they can change it, sure, go and tell them, but don't shout it, don't announce it. Go to them and be like, Ish, Pindu, quickly check 1 2 3 4, because 1 2 3 4 is very obvious. That's something they can change. That's something that will help them. And the fact that you're whispering to them, you're letting them know that I'm not trying to humiliate you, I'm trying to help you so you can change it. Exactly. And then something that they cannot change, and themselves that they're struggling with it, don't announce it, do not emphasize it, rather embrace it with them, help them embrace it. So if you know that someone is struggling because they feel like they're too dark, tell them, yes, when I'm melanin, you just beautiful, dark and lovely. Help them embrace what they feel so insecure about. Some people may feel like I'm too chubby and be like, darling, you thick and you look beautiful. Some people feel like they're too skinny, like you might be the next model. Help them embrace things that they're insecure about, because they cannot change them. And they have mirrors. I feel like we all own mirrors. We all have mirrors.
We live in the bodies that we live in.
I'm aware. I'm very aware of how my body looks, and I'm very I might be fighting this insecurity on my own. I do not need you to come and emphasize it and make it more harder than it already is. And sometimes you find that a person is fighting this insecurity and they've made a bit of progress in trying to accept it and embrace it. And then someone comes and then they say something so hurtful that it tears down all progress and all hope to actually ever accept yourself for who you are. And it's not okay. To answer Carol's question, the behaviors that you might find are those: a person who tears down instead of just helping, a person who cannot find the difference between helping and bullying, a person who cannot find the difference between confidentiality and announcing something. That's where you know that, okay, this person has more bullying characteristics than helpful characteristics. And sometimes I feel like we should also look out for the behaviors of someone who's being bullied, someone who isn't confident in themselves 24/7. Someone who'll be like, "Ish friend, do I look nice?" And you tell them that yes, you look nice, and they still doubt it. Then you know that no, this person is fighting a heavy insecurity and I need to help them. Or either sometimes it's because someone has told them that no, that doesn't look nice, and then they start to believe that no, this doesn't look nice in general. I'm never going to it. And then when just one person comes and tries to change it, it's hard. It's always harder to put positivity in someone than it is to put negativity. With negativity, it's so easy, but it's so hard to pick that person up from where they've already been dropped. It's always so. Just try. I know it's a hard wall to break through, but try and help the people around you.
Let it. I want to just add on to that and say, let it be a culture, especially as the God-fearing generation, as members of the God-fearing generation, and then we start to extend it to our community that we support. It's the small things. Affirmations, building people up, telling them that you like this about them, that you liked how they looked today. Let it be our culture, let it be our thing to be known as a community of kindness, a community that builds one another up, and we don't stop it there. We just spread all of that lovely energies, out into the world, because we know that the world that we live in needs a lot of loveliness in it. It needs a lot of yellow energies, and that's what we need to make of ourselves. So let us take it upon ourselves as the GFG community to be kinder to the people around us, to build them up, even those that we don't know, because you really never know people's struggles, and that is why it's more important than ever right now to just spread all kinds of kindness and loveliness to people.
On that note, we have to speak about the impacts of bullying. Do you maybe have a few that you can note for us?
I do. Bullying in general leaves an impact. Impacts are different, effects are different, and how they manifest is different for every person because we're just different people. Things affect us differently as people. But one thing you can count on, or two things you can count on really after you've been bullied, is the first, emotional effects. You can see someone starting to withdraw, and that's how it's affected them emotionally. It also goes the other side, where now their self-esteem isn't where it used to be, or they don't believe in themselves, they're insecure, they aren't confident. It's just small struggles, but they're amplified because of the emotional hit or the emotional knock that they've taken because of bullying. The second is physical. When someone has now been physically bullied and now they start to, neglect the part that someone tells them. Let's say they hit you across something, then you neglect that thing because of that one experience. And then it also goes into an array of mental health issues. People can now show symptoms or liken to things like post-traumatic stress disorders. You see people now showing symptoms or behaving like people who are suffering from heavy anxiety and heavy depression. You see them have real trust issues, even with their families, because you've been told that you aren't worthy. You have been told that you aren't important, that you don't matter in the way that you think you do. And now you feel like your space, your plot, your place in this earth does not matter like that. So you withdraw trust, and now you trust less. You have low self-image. When you see yourself, you don't see someone who's worth anything, and that's not how it's supposed to be. And those are very, very real impacts. Like I said, it can be different for other people, but it doesn't make it any less valid. Everyone's struggle is valid, everyone's struggle deserves respect, and that is why it is ever more important, we're going to keep stressing it in this conversation, to just be kind, to spread a whole lot of niceness, because people need it out there. Today, most especially, it's actually quite coincidental that we're having this conversation today. Today is Mental Health Awareness Day. It's showing support to people that are struggling with mental illnesses, and for all we know, some of them have stemmed because of issues like these, because of bullying. So again, we're going to say, guys, please be kind to your family, your siblings, your friends, everyone you meet in general. No one is ever going to reject your kindness, and you will be blessed. I promise you will be blessed for it.
Yeah, I'm sure you know that I've experienced bullying firsthand. And with me, it was a situation of I had just moved to a new school, and I only knew the 4 girls that I grew up with, and it was a very tough situation because one of them was my closest friends, and we had, just like all close friendships and all best friend relationships, we had a bit of an argument, and it escalated further than it had to escalate to, and got to a point where rumors were being spread. And I didn't know anyone, so I didn't have a voice to speak, and she knew more people than I did, meaning that whatever she said was more valid than whatever I had to say. Exactly, it was going to hold more weight. So then I was bullied for months on end, and group chats were made in my name, and things were said, and my appearance was my general appearance was targeted, and it was a thing of, no, she cannot go with us. I was given names where I was told that I wasn't allowed to be at the school, as in I wasn't supposed to be there, I'm supposed to leave, and at some point I actually did. I left the school, I left the town, because I couldn't socialize anymore. I was so scared and had so much fear that what if I approach someone and they hear what has been said about me, and then I lose that person. And I just didn't have the self-esteem that I once had. I couldn't go out because my appearance was targeted, and I was there like, what if I go out and the same person that the same flaw that person mentioned is the same flaw that every other person I'm gonna bump into see is what they're looking at. And it was so hard because it was something that I was already struggling with, and it was a thing that I didn't really pay much attention to it until it was mentioned, amplified. Exactly, until it was given that, hey, listen, this and this doesn't look nice on you, and you just have to accept it. And then that's when I was like, okay, and for the longest of times there were friends who were like, no, you can't there's always the few friends that you guys, and I'm going to say this, there are friends that you guys have to appreciate on a daily. There are friends who are actually there for you, and don't take them for granted, because there were a few friends who were like, no, you cannot let this get you down. And because I'd already told myself that I'd already put it in a negative light within myself, there was no way that whatever anyone said could actually help. Like, no one could change my mind. I'd already believed that I wasn't worthy. I couldn't go out. I looked ugly. I couldn't do anything. And even after I had left the city, and after I had left the school, it was still hard. I was still so insecure about everything that had to do with myself, and it impacted me academically, because I felt my grades went extremely low. Because even in class, instead of listening to the teacher, I was so concerned about, wait, what if my uniform is not sitting right? Wait, what if when I stand up, my blazer is looking somehow, or so forth? And I was so concerned about my appearance instead of what was actually more important, which was my education. And I feel like it's important that there's a light that is shed upon being bullied and how far it goes. And my mom knew why I wanted to leave, and sometimes people don't know that there's a bullying after bully is reported. You can report a bully, and you can report that, hey, I'm being bullied, please do something about it. And even after you report it, there's still there's a post-bully after the reporting, where you're being bullied for reporting the bully. And that is exactly what happened to me. My mom reported the bullying, and I was bullied even further because it was reported. And because of that, that's when I decided to leave, because I was like, if I report it, it's just going to get even worse. And that's when I silenced myself. I was like, I'm not going to do anything about it anymore. I'm just going to let them tear me down day by day, and it's going to be okay. And then that's when I left. And when I was away, it detached me from all the negativity, and I somehow slowly built myself up again. And I told myself that, you know what, that's it. You cannot let people control you. And I know that it's not as easy. Like you said, everyone is different. For me, it might have taken just a year to realize that I'm worthy, but for others it might take years and years, or some people it just takes a few weeks to bounce back and you're okay. But people are different, and that's why I'm like, you don't know the heart you're breaking into. You don't know how strong they are, or how high their pain endurance is. You understand? So that was how it impacted me. I couldn't go out, I couldn't do anything basically, and it just took some time for me to build myself up again. And once I did, there was nothing anyone could tell me about myself,
as it should be Queen. I do want to say thank you very much for sharing that experience, especially so it can progress our conversation. It's not an easy thing. It's not something you're obligated to do, and you did it anyway. And we really do appreciate you sharing your experience so that our conversation can be more relatable. We're doing everything that we do for everyone that is watching and everyone that is tuning in, and we thought it really, really important that you she shared this conversation and you can hear what she's saying. And there's something I do want to add on to the personal experience she shared. She said something about how it affected her academically. So now our conversation has progressed even more, that the effects and the impacts of bullying are limited to psychological and physical. Now those can now stem into new struggles. Now that academically you're struggling because you have zero confidence in yourself because of something someone else has said, or now you aren't socializing, you're losing the best years of your life. I mean, you are 16 and 17 years old. Life begins now, really. It begins now. So you're losing your time because you're focused on the ugliness that people have spread around you, and then you lose time where you could have been making friends, could have been making marks, doing things academically, culturally, at school, and you couldn't have that because of someone's ugliness. And I think we really need to put that into perspective more often, how far our words can go, because we limit it to you hurt someone's feelings, but people do things because of their hurt feelings, and then it just, it builds on and it builds on, and when you go back to the origin, it started with what you said, and then in the long run, when someone has suffered, uprooted their entire life like you did, and you think to yourself, I caused that with something that I could have just kept to myself. So it's a sentiment that we really need to firstly internalize in ourselves, internalize in our friend groups and the people we interact with. That what, if you see something in someone, if they cannot change it in 4 minutes, 5 minutes, keep it to yourself. You have no business talking about anyone's anything in any case. Or embrace it with them. Help them, support them, extend kindness, extend affirmation, all of those good positive things that just make a positive and peaceful environment for someone. That should be what we're doing all of the time.
Yeah, and I constantly mention that it doesn't cost much and you don't lose anything from either keeping quiet or saying something nice. Guys, kindness is not expensive. It costs absolutely nothing. All you need is a heart. And I feel like if you have a heart, kindness goes a long way. So I believe we also have Google Forms.
We do. I am going to get to the Google Forms in a second, but we have a contribution in the comment section from Nyeleti Baloy. She says that recovering from bullying is very difficult, especially if it takes place in spaces you are frequent in and are meant to be safe spaces actually. But once you acknowledge that the bullying has affected you and you take it upon yourself to recover and surround yourself with loving and supportive people, you will overcome it. And she's absolutely right. You need to surround yourself with people that will be, and they are there. They are friends that would go above and beyond to make sure that you are in a positive space, positive mental space, that your well-being is intact. Surround yourself with people like that. Reach out to them and know that, especially to the people watching at home, that there are people like that in the God-fearing generation. If they weren't, they are now after this conversation. So you can reach out to people that are going to be there for you, that are going to support you, especially if you feel like you can't reach out to your parents, because sometimes it's hard to open up about struggles like this because you think they're minute, they don't hold that much weight. It's just bullying, and it's never just bullying, especially with impacts like these. So know that, surround yourself with positive people that are willing to build you up, because they will, and then you will be able to overcome struggles like bullying. Sorry, let me not cut you off.
And on that note, I'd actually like to plea with parents, please, take it seriously. Your kids do need you. I feel like there's so much, there's a distance, a certain distance that a friend's love and a friend's support can go, but no love and no support and care and protection can go further than that of a parent.
Absolutely.
Listen to your kids, talk to them, make it or open up the platform to let them talk to you, make them aware that it's okay for you to come to me. Don't be so strict and so stuck in being a parent that you forget that your child sometimes just needs a best friend that you know very well she will not get when she's out there. And I will say this, I think I've said it once or twice, that sometimes we all have our best friends and our mngani, but then the best, but then the best friend you'll ever have is your mom and your dad, because you know that they have the best interest at heart. There is no parent out there or no right parent out there who want their child to cry and feel bad about themselves. Every parent wishes for their child to just progress in life. And sometimes you might not see it. Sometimes when they bother you, you're like, ish ma, just leave me alone, but they actually just want to be there. And for that, I'll just say also, as youth, please do talk to your parents. Let them know what's going on. And if you feel like they're not comfortable with talking to you about it, it's okay. Step back and deal with it. Maybe get support from your friends, but don't stop.
Teachers as well.
Teachers as well.
Leaders in the Gfg, people that you trust in the church. There are always people in your corner. You just need to reach out to them.
Yeah, but then don't stop pushing your parents. I feel like sometimes we need to help our parents parent us, because we know us and we know what we expect from them. So sometimes it's just a matter of, ma, I know you don't want to talk to me about this, but I need you. I need you to talk to me about this. I need your help. I know that you're the one who's going to help me with this. You're the one who has my best intentions at heart.
Absolutely.
So I need you. So sometimes try and push them out of that comfort zone, so that they know that, okay, what she was saying that time when I ignored her isn't as minor as I thought. She keeps pushing me for my assistance, meaning that it is big and she really needs me more than I thought. And
you said earlier about the Google Forms. We opened up this conversation earlier in the week to anyone who really wanted to share previous bullying experiences. We do want to thank anyone who is brave enough to tell us what they went through. We appreciate it so much, because it could be helping the next person that is tuning in. It helps us so much in studio. So thank you so much if you took the time to open up and tell us about your own bullying experiences. So the first one, the person said that they played a role as both the bully and the bullied, the victim. So it starts as a cycle that they were bullied by someone, and because of that pent up frustration, the pent up anger of why did that have to happen to me, they went and they released it elsewhere, and then they bullied someone else, and it now just spirals into a whole cycle of hate and unkindness. And if you think about just that one person doing it to 3 other people, and it's happening, let's say you're in a class of 40 people and it happens with every 5 children, how many people are negatively affected by our unkind words? That's how big a deal this is. That's how real the struggle of bullying is. And when you think about that example, when let's say every 5 kids go through something like that, and you think about the numbers that they reach, then you go back and you think about the impacts that 20 children are going through, what we just spoke about, the emotional traumas, the physical traumas. They're having their academic and social lives stifled. You realize how big it is and how important it is to talk about. So it's when you put it into perspective like that, which we don't do often enough, I think. When you put it into perspective, you realize how real of a problem it is.
Yeah, and I feel like some people unnecessarily start a chain of hurt and a chain of pain and a chain of insecurities, and it's not okay, because in general, as a normal teenager, we already have insecurities we're dealing with, but it is not right to make it worse than it already is, or make the battle heavier than it should be.
Very true. The second person said that can't see here. The second person said that they suffered bullying because they had a problem with stuttering. So that is a speech impediment, and you can't change it. You cannot change something that you were just born with, and it's really unfortunate that bullies target things like that, because now you are left with the thought of, this makes me less human, this makes me less normal, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. And that's, no one is deserving to feel that.
I feel it makes both of us a bit emotional, because it's not right, guys. Why would you do that to someone? They can't change it. They know they can't change it. They don't like it, and then you go and make it so much worse for them. And it's not okay. You're hurting someone. You're breaking someone down. I feel like most suicides are usually because someone doesn't feel good about themselves, and no one was there to make them feel better about themselves. And some people are like,
or even where someone amplified that thing that makes them not feel good about themselves.
And I feel like, what if just one nice word could have saved that person from suicide? What if just saying, honey, it doesn't matter how you talk, as long as communication is there and I understand you.
I will make the effort
to understand you, and I will reply, and I am still here. What if just that one little sentence could have saved someone from suicide? It's not okay. It's not. One thing could trigger a whole entire chain of hurt, like you said. And imagine how high the statistics go in terms of depression, anxiety. And anxiety is also a big thing, because then you'll find a person casually walking around the mall, and then just one look sets them off, because they feel like, what if that person is looking at my flaws? And then they start breathing and they can't do anything, and they just feel like, I want to go back home immediately. You're taking someone's life away from them, and it's not okay. They cannot live anymore. It's not okay.
The third person said that they had to endure name calling, teasing, and that they say that their bully would also intimidate and threaten them so that the bully could take their lunch money. Now I think about that. Imagine waking up in the morning, going to school, and you have to suffer levels of pain, of emotional mistreatment, because you're being teased on the first, you're being name called on the second, you're being intimidated, so now you're uncomfortable in the space that your parents have put you in to be comfortable and learn, and you can't do that anymore. You have that taken away from you, and then finally they take your money, they take what you were supposed to have for lunch. And it's frustrating, and it's disappointing, and it's so sad when you hear experiences like this, that people really have the power to make someone's life as miserable as this, and they do it. So that's why it makes this conversation even more important, when you put it into perspective, that these are the effects of what you say, the effects of what you do, and your conduct. And it is important that you check yourself. It's important that you check yourself, and you think forward, like forward movement thinking, that this could set off that instead of that. Do I want to be responsible for someone's hurt like that? That's what we always need to have in the back of our minds when you hear contributions like that, that an individual literally did that to someone, and it's not fair.
It's not nice.
The last contribution says that they were physically slapped in a classroom by a peer and could not hit or fight the peer back. So that was physical bullying, and it's I would honestly, we're glad that they didn't hit them back, because no one should have been hitting anyone in the first place. And that's something that you cannot even believe, that in this day and age we're still teaching one another. Respect one another's private space. You should not be touching, you should not be physically harming someone else, especially because there are repercussions to this, more especially when it's now physical. And we're going to talk about the repercussions in a minute, but you cannot be physically slapping someone across the face as a form of bullying them. It is not okay. It is not right. It is don't do it. It's not.
And not only are you leaving a physical scar, you're leaving an emotional scar too, and a mental scar at that. You're making someone feel like, okay, this person hit me here, it left a scar here, and now I'm a little bit uglier than I was because now I have this scar. It goes deeper than a person will think. Now every day when they wake up, they have to look at that scar that you left and then still remember all the trauma that you put them through. And I know it's just a slap, but it's still something. You get cases that are worse than that. Someone who beats someone so bad that they are bruised all over, and it's not right. Why? Because that's an image that God has given them to protect and to treasure, and when you take that away from them, you're taking away the beauty that God has given to them to be theirs. You understand?
Yeah, that's very true. In the comments, we have Mr. Chriswell Baloy. He says that sometimes we bully without being aware that we are bullying, and if we can forgive, we can also be in the position to help bullies. Mrs. Rulani Baloy also says that she's met kids who were bullied and ended up getting into drugs in order to become getting into drugs in order to become part of a gang. Okay, so on the first level, it's that sometimes you aren't aware, and that is very true. Sometimes you just aren't aware of your actions, or that they could be mean-spirited, or that they could negatively impact someone. But we really have to encourage you that the second you do become aware, make means that, hey, I said this and this to you 2 days ago. You never got back to me and said that it hurt your feelings. But when I thought about it, I thought I wouldn't have liked hearing that. So I am going to take this capacity of myself and say, I am sorry. That's what the kind of behavior that we need to be encouraging in the youth. That even if in the moment you weren't aware, as soon as you do realize, don't say, but she didn't say that it hurt her. Don't say that she never brought it up, she never confronted me about it, therefore all is well. All may not be well. So you just take that step, that extra step, that I thought to myself, if I heard that, I wouldn't have liked it. So I'm going to say to you that I do apologize for saying that to you.
And I feel like so many people are in the attitude or the spirit of we move, and with such we don't move. We stick and we stay until it's sorted out. If you know that you hurt someone, you don't just move from it. Go back and be like, Pindu, I said 1 2 3 4 and I'm so sorry, and I know that maybe you didn't say anything to me, didn't express any hurt, but I didn't like that I was the one to say that. And sometimes if it's possible, just be like, are you okay though? Is there anything else that you might be insecure about? And then just talk to them. Try and create a platform to make them know that you can come to me if you need anyone or anything like that.
Okay, let me just, the last comment contribution, Tsineleti Baloy, she says that bullying can also be indirect. Someone may not necessarily say something nasty to your face or at you on social media, but we can also bully by making someone feel marginalized and unworthy, which is something very common about us as young people. That is true. We need to adopt spirits of acceptance, 1, 2, tolerance, 3, and kindness, because we don't need to know people's situations to be kind to them. We saw that, I think it was 3-4 weeks back, when Chadwick Boseman passed away. He played the Black Panther, and people for a couple months prior had made fun of him because of his dramatic weight loss. After his passing, we heard he was fighting stage 4 colon cancer. He made some of the greatest movies of our generation fighting colon cancer, and what did people do? They made fun of his weight loss. They made memes about him. So when you hear comments like that, it's very important that you as a person, especially as members of the God-fearing generation, and anyone really that took the time to watch, that adopt the spirit of kindness without knowing someone's circumstance, without knowing their situation, without knowing their entire life story. Just make someone feel as comfortable and as included as possible. Let that be a statement that I can see someone is by themselves. I wouldn't like to be by themselves. Let me invite them. Come sit with us, or let's go out this weekend. How would you like that? Just actively including people, actively making people feel like there is nothing that sets them apart, there is nothing that makes them less than, but they are included and they are loved by you. That is so important.
I feel like as people on earth, the worst thing that you can feel like is feeling like you're not worthy of being on earth. And it's not right, because you're given a life, you're supposed to live it. Instead, people make you believe that you don't deserve it and it should be taken away from you. It's not okay. People are allowed to live the way that they want to live, and if you see that someone isn't okay, you don't have to, like you say, you don't have to know the situation to be nice, because then you have to think to yourself, am I really being nice, or am I just trying to ease my guilty conscience
because of the situation?
Exactly. And like, oh no, he passed away because he had cancer. Oh, and then you start like trying to console whatever the situation is, or else you know that just a few weeks ago you were teasing the fact that he's lost weight. Exactly. So it's that thing of, am I really being a nice person, or am I just doing what I'm supposed to do because of the situation? Where like someone passed on and I have to say my condolences and so forth, but you know very well that somehow you are part of a problem, because no one can fight cancer knowing that there's so many people that are teasing him and hurting him in that way. And I feel like there's so many people who are like, oh no, celebrities signed up for this. They know that once they live their life in the social light, that's how it's supposed to be. No, I'm sorry, but no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Just because a person is a celebrity
or is open about their lives
doesn't give you
platform,
the platform or the position to now all of a sudden start hurting them and saying, oh no, it's because they decided to put it out there, so now I have an opinion on it. No, it's not like that. If that was the case, then we would all be hurting and would all be committing suicide. Because I remember there was a rapper who also committed suicide because he was being called fat and people didn't know that he was actually suffering from HIV. And he passed on while he killed himself while he was already suffering from HIV, and people were just calling him fat. They didn't know that he was suffering from HIV. But guess what? When they found out,
now
they all of a sudden
remorseful.
jump and they're like remorseful, and it's not okay. Celebrities are also people. Yes, they might be out there and living a more open life, but there's still people with feelings, and it's not okay to say such to other people.
It's not. It's never on any kind of level ever okay to make someone feel because of who they are or their physical appearance that they're less than. To close us out, we're going to discuss and provide a little bit of insight about what the law says about bullying. It is important that if you are a bully or were a bully, because we know you're not going to keep bullying after you heard this, that you do know that had you continued, or when you see other people doing it, you must be aware of the repercussions. Make them aware. So just for convenience, there are a lot of official documents and legislatures and acts and all of that, but we are going to try and paraphrase it for you, and then at the end we will provide the actual acts so that if you do want to go and read more for yourself so you can equip yourself legally, then you're more than welcome to do that. I think Atekile is going to paraphrase for us.
Okay, so the legal procedure of a bully is this. What happens is that if, let's say, I'm being bullied and I report you for bullying me, they can take you to court, and so you'll be put in a legal program where they not necessarily punish you for bullying, but rather rehabilitate you. Exactly, and try and help you and put a balance in between you taking responsibility for your actions and you realizing just how much you hurt the other person. And basically they just give you insight on what you're doing and so forth. But then if that is done and you still continue and you still continue bullying and you still continue hurting and someone continuously reports you, if you're over the age of 10, as long as you're over the age of 10, you will be arrested, and you will be kept arrested for 48 hours. That's 2 whole days.
In jail, imagine.
2 whole days in jail from the age of 11. Basically, if I'm 11 years old right now, I could get arrested and put in jail for 2 days and then taken to court where it's decided what is going to happen to me, where I could be put in an institution or be taken away from my family. You could kiss your whole entire life goodbye just because you couldn't keep your mouth quiet and you couldn't keep your negative opinions to yourself. And like I said, these measures aren't put to punish and to torment you. They just put to make you realize that, listen, what you're doing isn't right, and you're hurting someone, you're breaking someone down, and that's why we're just trying to help you realize that and to help you stop, because obviously you're not doing it on your own. And the intention always when we have conversations like these is to educate. It's to educate so that we can reflect on our own experiences, we can reflect on our own actions, our own conduct, and we do better. So when they put you in jail or they put you in these programs, it's not with the intent to punish you or to make you suffer. They're trying to educate you that you have infringed on someone's rights to be happy, and someone's their whole area of rights that you have now infringed on, and that is not a right, and we have to take the measures to educate you on it so that you do not do it again. I did say that we will give you the exact acts and where you can find them, so if you are particularly interested, that you have a little bit of insight afterwards. The first one is the South African Schools Act 84 of 1996. Basically, the law stipulates that all public schools must enforce a code of conduct, which is compiled by the relevant governing bodies of that institution. So that is basically saying that it is the school has a responsibility and a duty to protect you. So they have to put procedures in place for when you do experience bullying that will always protect you as the victim, but not just protect you, and also benefit and educate the person who is bullied, so that it is a win-win situation at the end of the day.
The second one is the Children's Act 38 of 2005. It says that with emphasis on the protection of children against abuse and neglect, this law is associated with the eradication of bullying in schools. It gives every South African child the right to bring a case of bullying to court. It is important to note that the Act's aim is not to punish a bully, but to restore balance that was thrown off when the one child was caused to harm another. That's what we've been emphasizing on for the last about 10 minutes, that you know what, you have this right after you've been bullied, but we're not punishing the person who's bullying. We are still trying to educate them because they are a valued member of society. They matter as well, and we're trying to set them up for success. Even though they've taken themselves a couple steps back, we're going to help them walk, the rest of the difference so they can get back on top of themselves. The final one is the Child Justice Act 75 of 2008. It says that building on the Children's Act and emphasizing on child offenders need to be held in different moral standards of society. The Child Justice Act calls for restorative justice and acknowledges that cases of bullying can contain a criminal element. So basically what that means is that the intention or the aim at the end of all of these legal proceedings is for peace and for everyone to have benefited. That is basically, so know that all of these acts are put into place, especially if you're someone who's being bullied, to protect you. Don't feel like you're by yourself. Don't feel like you cannot reach out to anyone. There are procedures, legal, not medical, legal documents, organizations, all of these institutions, important things that are put into place for your protection. Use them if you need to, really.
Yeah. And with that said, if you are experiencing bullying, or you know anyone nearby who's experiencing bullying, and you try to tell them and you just don't know how to, and you feel like maybe they might need professional,
just an extra
professional mile. There is the child line that is there 24/7. You just call them, they're always there. Even if it's at 12 at midnight and you feel like this person needs the help, just call them. The number is 080 0055 555. So I'm going to repeat this because I know it might be a bit confusing
for someone.
Yes. It's 080 00 55 555. So just call them and let them know whether I'm experiencing bullying. Just be like, I'm experiencing bullying, I don't know what to do. Or my friend is experiencing bullying and I don't know what to do to help them. Exactly. And maybe you might want to.
That we've put everything available for you guys. We really hope that this message does really stick with you, does resonate with you, because bullying cannot be something we keep talking about. Everyone deserves to live a happy life. Everyone deserves to live a life of kindness, a life of peace, and a life where they're accepted and tolerated by everyone. That is the end of our show. We do want to thank you so much for tuning in. We want to thank you for everyone that opened up, told us some of their stories, whether it was in the form of a Google form or it was in the comment section. All of it is absolutely appreciated. Gatekile, anything else you want to add?
With that said, I'd just like to say, guys, act kinder, be nicer, watch what you say, and just remember that love is the language that as Christians speak.
Absolutely.
Just love. It's not that hard. And with that said, I'd like to say thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
And don't forget that these videos are still available for your watching or for your viewing later on. And they are still there on our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. You can still access them at any time, anyway.
So until next week, please join us again. Remember to share and comment, like all of our conversations. It really is so important and so nice to see you interacting with us. So please remember to do that. And yes, remember to be kind, like you said. Spread kindness, spread love, spread positivity. Stay safe, and God bless you.
God bless. Bye.